What's up everyone, it's Ben from the Vinyl Jukebox, and in this video I'm going to share my top 10 new studio albums from 2024. Before we get started though, if you haven't done so already, please be sure to leave a like and a comment below this video, subscribe to my channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of my videos. So I thought 2024 was a great year for new music, but particularly I thought 2024 was a great year for new music from older rock artists. Looking back at my top 10 picks, I noticed that all of my picks were new albums from older rock artists. So it just goes to show that you can't count them out. They still have so much more fuel in the tank. And these albums are really worth listening to. And a lot of the time, they're on par with these artists' older material. So definitely make sure that you're checking out new music when it's released from your favorite artists from back in the day. So I wanted to start off with some honorable mentions. I just couldn't leave these albums out of my video. So first off, I wanted to show the MC5's Heavy Lifting. This is just a powerhouse of an album. I know the MC5 released 2 studio albums back in the day, and this one is their big comeback. Unfortunately, only Wayne Kramer had survived to be on this album, their guitar player, and unfortunately he passed away right before this was released. But this is just a powerhouse of an album, and it really evokes the spirit of the MC5. This sounds like an MC5 album, a classic MC5 album, from the songs to the power to the music. And it's got some great special guests on it too. Tom Morello, Rage Against the Machine, Willem Duvall from Alice in Chains, Slash. It's got Vernon Reid from Living Colour. So just an amazing record. And I really didn't have high expectations for this one, but I picked it up. I really liked the first single. I picked it up, and man, this album kicks ass. So definitely check this out if you're an MC5 fan. I don't think you'll be disappointed. And to be honest, it's a tribute album. It really is. It's a tribute to the spirit of the MC5, and they do it great. So honorable mention number 1, MC5. Honorable mention number 2, and I love Myles Kennedy. He keeps on putting out great album after great album, whether it's with his solo stuff, whether it's with Slash, whether it's with Alter Bridge. Myles Kennedy is just awesome, and this new album, The Art of Letting Go, is no different. This one is a little heavier than his previous 2 studio solo albums. Those 2 were a little more acoustic based, the second a little less so than the first, but this one is definitely on par with his Alter Bridge material. Great songwriting, great music, great instrumentation. This is just a great album, and definitely check it out if you can. So second to last honorable mention, and this one had to grow on me a little bit. This one was a grower. Duff McKagan's Lighthouse. Duff McKagan, obviously bass player from the legendary Guns N' Roses, my favorite band of all time, and Duff's solo material tends to be a little hit or miss for me. His last album before this, Tenderness, didn't really do it for me. I mean, it was cool how he got a little more into the songwriting aspect of things, did an acoustic album, wanted to do something different, a little country influence to it, but it didn't really do much for me. And Lighthouse, when it came out, I wasn't too crazy about it. I definitely liked the second half of the album better than the first half. But I actually saw Duff last month in New York City in a small club, right up front towards the stage. And to be honest, I was super impressed with how these songs came across live, that I went back and took another listen. And this is just a great album from him. It's got some special guests on it too. Slash, Jerry Cantrell. It seems like Slash is on everything lately. Jerry Cantrell from Alice in Chains. Iggy Pop does a little vocal thing or talking thing on one of the songs. So I would have liked to hear a little more from Iggy Pop, some real Iggy stuff. But this is a great album from Duff, and the songs definitely come out, I think, a little better live, but definitely worth listening to, definitely worth checking out, and it's certainly a little more rockin' than his last studio album. Would I have liked something a little more on par with his more hard rock punk solo stuff from the 90s? Yeah, but you know, this is a good album. Definitely check it out. So that made my honorable mention, and this last one may have made my top 5 if if I had had an opportunity to spend more time with it. But this just came out a few weeks ago. This is Crossbones Scully's Evil World Machine. Now, this band is fronted by Tommy Hendrickson, who you would know him from Alice Cooper's band right now. He's also in the Hollywood Vampires with Alice and Johnny Depp. But this album sounds just like AC/DC, Def Leppard, and to be honest, it's produced by the same guy who produced both of those bands. Mutt Lange. Somehow Tommy brought him back from the dead and brought him in to produce this album, and this is just a great rock album. Definitely, like I said, sounds like Def Leppard, sounds like AC/DC. If you love that music, you will absolutely love this. Definitely worth checking out, and like I said, this may have made my top 10 had it come out a little sooner, had I had more time to spend with it, but really cool album, and I'd love to see this band because they are great players. These songs are awesome, and it's a classic 80s hard rock album. It feels like early 80s hard rock album. All right, so now we get into the top 10. So coming in at number 10, we have Lenny Kravitz, Blue Electric Light. So this album really impressed me. I thought that Lenny really brought back a lot of his rock influence on this album. It's super danceable as well. It's got very catchy, funky songs to it. I think the playing is great. I think the songwriting is great. Some key tracks that stood out to me, TK421 was that first single, real danceable single. Paralyzed is a real rocker, heavy rocker. In fact, I'd love to hear a lot more of that kind of stuff from Lenny. Human, kind of the poppy mid-tempo song that really grew on me as well. I really love that song. Let It Ride, Blue Electric Light. So this album was produced by Lenny. Most of the instrumentation was done by Lenny as well. Craig Ross was also featured on this album, his partner in crime. But this was just a great comeback album from Lenny. I know it had been a few years since his last one, but I love that one. So Blue Electric Light, number 10 for me. Number 9, and this one almost didn't make my top 10 because I almost didn't get it before I recording this video. This is Smashing Pumpkins' Agori Mori Mai. This album came out a little earlier in the year as a streaming only, and they just released the vinyl a couple weeks ago. So I've had some more time to spend with it. I listened to it a lot when it came out, but now that I've had some time to listen to it a lot more, this is just an awesome album from Smashing Pumpkins. To be honest, I haven't liked a lot of their new music that has come out in recent years. I thought that their last studio album, which was the triple album rock opera, was very overdone, and there was a lot of crap on that album, to be honest. But this really brings them back to their bare bones raw 90s sound, and you can really hear it from the first few tracks. I love the first few tracks, Eden, Pentagrams, just a great set of songs, and I heard that they really did try to evoke that 90s spirit while they were recording this album. So I'm really happy that I finally got the vinyl version of it and got to spend some time with it. So that's my number 9 on my list. Coming in at number 8, and this one I got on CD. This is Black Country Communion 5. Now, it's been a few years since we've gotten a Black Country Communion album. This is, of course, the supergroup fronted by Glenn Hughes on bass and vocals, Joe Bonamassa on guitar. We have Jason Bonham on drums, and we have Derek Sherinian on keyboards. Now, this supergroup is just awesome. Really, the standout of this supergroup is Glenn Hughes. His voice is just incredible at this point in his career. Songwriting is just amazing, and even his bass playing is incredible as well. I really thought that this was a great comeback for them. It's too bad that they're not playing any live shows or actually doing a live tour. I know that they're playing a couple of live shows to support this, but this is just a great band, definitely worth checking out, and really would be interesting to see if they were able to spend some time together, get a real chemistry going. Then we might get an album even better than this. But great album from Black Country Communion, definitely check it out. That's my number 8. Coming in at number 7, and you know, I'm kind of surprised that they're in my top 10. If you told me at the beginning of the year that I was going to put this band in my top 10, I probably wouldn't believe you. But this is Deep Purple Equals One, produced by Bob Ezrin, the legendary producer. And this is just an incredible album from Deep Purple. I haven't really liked a lot of their recent material. It's a little too progressive for me, you know, the Steve Moore stuff. But now that they've gotten this new guitar player, Simon McBride, they've really brought back a lot of their old guitar-driven sound. And this album really reminds me of their older stuff. They get into that funky groove. There's a lot more organ in these songs. Some standouts to me: Show Me, Sharpshooter. My favorite on this album is Old Fangled Thing. We get a little of that screaming vocal from Ian Gillan that he used to do all the time, can't really do now. I think Ian Gillan's vocals sound awesome on this album. I think the band is really on a really nice groove. I know that they were contemplating retirement a few years ago, and now that seems to have faded away. Please don't retire Deep Purple, because this album, your music now, is awesome. So Deep Purple Equals One, that would be my number 7. And my only complaint about this is the album artwork was terrible. If they used this as the album artwork, it would have been a lot better. All right, coming in at number 6, we have Judas Priest's Invincible Shield. This album is another one in their series with Richie Faulkner, their new guitar player, replacing KK Downing. And to be honest, everything they've done since he's been in the band has been awesome. I think that he brought a whole new life to this band, and I think that it's incredible, the music that they're making. Rob Halford sounds awesome on this album. The last album that they did was great too, but I think that this one brings a lot more dynamics to their sound. We have songs like Panic Attack, a real intense one, a real Painkiller sounding song. Serpent and the King is awesome too. Invincible Shield, Gates of Hell, Crown of Horns. I just love this album, and I think that that Judas Priest, again, is on a resurgence, just like Deep Purple, to their sound. Maybe bringing in these younger artists is a big help for them, but Judas Priest sounds as intense and as lively and young as they've ever been. So awesome from Judas Priest. All right, so we are at number 5. Pick number 5 would be Slash Orgy of the Damned. Now, I did a review on this album. Let me take this out of the sleeve so you guys could get a better look at it. Now, I did a review on this album earlier in the year, so I'll put a link below to my review. But this was a really big surprise that we were going to get this from Slash this year. Really cool blues covers album from Slash. He had a plethora of special guests on this one: Chris Robinson, Gary Clark Jr., Billy Gibbons, Dorothy, Iggy Pop, Chris Stapleton, Brian Johnson. Just an incredible array of artists that he got to play with him. And these songs really sound great. Now, I know he stays very true to the originals and doesn't really slashify them all too much, but I know a lot of the criticism was that Slash doesn't sound like Slash. That's a lie. I think that Slash sounds just like Slash. I think he's playing in a different style. He's playing in a more bluesy style, which is really great. And I love that Slash is kind of doing what he wants to do, because I love his albums with Miles Kennedy, and we're going to get another one apparently this year. But I want to hear what Slash is thinking. I want to hear all of his influences. I want to hear Slash having fun. And that's what this sounds like on this album. Slash just having fun with his friends, playing the music that he wants to play. So this one was awesome. I got to see Slash earlier in the year over at Pier 17 in Manhattan, and that show was just incredible. He sounds amazing. His band sounds awesome. He's having fun, like I said, and definitely worth checking out that album for sure. So we are on to number 4. And this one, another late edition, because this came out a little later in the year. I think this was September or October, but this is Jerry Cantrell's I Want Blood. Really awesome new studio album, new solo album, I should say, from Jerry Cantrell. And we haven't gotten an Alice in Chains album in a while, but this is just as good in my opinion, because Jerry Cantrell pretty much is Alice in Chains at this point. It sounds like an Alice in Chains album. It sounds like, well, what an Alice in Chains album would be in this day and age. But just great songs on this one. Vilified, Off the Rails, I Want Blood, Echoes of Laughter, Throw Me a Line. Just awesome songs. And this album is definitely up there in his catalog with his top ones. I didn't think it could top his last one before this, but it's definitely up there. I think it's comparable with his last studio album for sure. Last solo album for sure. All right, coming in at number 3. Top 3 now. Coming in at number 3. And I did a review of this one earlier in the year as well. This is Pearl Jam's Dark Matter. I think a great return to form for Pearl Jam. Great hard rockin' songs. Andrew Watt produced this, who has been resurging older rock artists' careers from the Rolling Stones to Iggy Pop to Ozzy Osbourne. I think this album is awesome. Some people say it's a little overproduced. I say that's not... you know what? I'm fine with that. It's a little more produced than usual for Pearl Jam, and I'm okay with that. I think the songs are awesome, and they translate well live because I've heard a lot of live videos. And just a great album, from Wreckage to Dark Matter, the title track, to Runnin', which is a great fast rocker, to Waiting for Stevie. I love that song. And this one actually, which was funny about this, I think Dark Matter was my top song for the year on Spotify for their 2024 Wrapped compilation. So this one definitely was this one definitely stuck with me for the year for sure. All right, it's coming in at number 2, and this album was just incredible. When I first heard the first single from this album, I was like, man, he is Bach. No pun, well, pun completely intended. Sebastian Bach's Child Within the Man. This was just an awesome comeback solo album from Sebastian Bach. I know that there's been a lot of drama with the Skid Row guys lately, but to be honest, I think this is better than anything Skid Row has done since he's been in the band. Just awesome, heavy, modern sounding at times, but still that classic Sebastian Bach metal. He sounds incredible on this album. He sounds like he did in the 90s. His vocals are just insane. I don't know how he's still doing it. From the song Everybody Bleeds, Freedom, which I know John 5 plays a solo on. Hold On to the Dream starts really slow, gets so heavy. What Do I Got to Lose, which was I think the first single on this album. Just a crazy great assortment of songs from Sebastian Bach. I still haven't gotten to see him live. I've seen Skid Row without him live, but I'd love to see him live because I know that he still kicks ass live. And just a great album from Sebastian Bach. Definitely worthy of my number 2. To be honest, this would have been my number 1 if my number 1 was not so great. Produced by Elvis Basket, who, if you have been following, produced Slash's last few studio albums, except for the last one during COVID, Slash 4, that was produced by the producer Dave Cobb. And Elvis Basket does a great job with Miles Kennedy. He produced Miles Kennedy's solo album, which I just talked about. Mastered by Robert Ludwig. All right, that was a big one for Sebastian Bach because I know that Robert Ludwig, I know that Sebastian Bach is a big vinyl collector, so he's always looking for those RL copies of records. So finding Robert Ludwig, and apparently this is Robert Ludwig's last album that he's going to be working on. Robert Ludwig has since retired from mastering, so Sebastian Bach, you get the honor of having the last one. So great stuff from Sebastian. That's my number 2. All right, now this is my number 1 pick. My number 1 pick of 2024, and I think you guys already know what it is because I did do a review on this album when it came out, and this one left such a great impression on me. This is Happiness Bastards from the Blackcrowes. Their comeback reunion studio album. I know that they did a covers EP a couple years ago, but this was just an amazing comeback album from the Blackcrowes. Very reminiscent of their music from the 90s, but sounds also influenced by the Rolling Stones, Allman Brothers, all those classic 70s bands. Chris Robinson sounding amazing on this album. Rich Robinson's playing and songwriting is just incredible. Just a great arrangement of songs. This is one of those albums where I have to listen to it all the way through. I can't just listen to part of it because I get hooked into it. And there's not a bad song on this album. I knew this was going to be a great album, but I just didn't know how great it was going to be. I just kept playing this over and over and over again this year. And it was just incredible. And it's a great album to get you in a great mood. Just a fantastic assortment of songs. And I'll show the vinyl because this vinyl is really great. This was the Amazon exclusive. There we go. And some songs on this album that really stood out to me. Rats and Clowns was a great one. Cross Your Fingers, the second single, was incredible. That one's a real heavy rocker. Wanting and Waiting, the first single, was great. Let me show you guys the other side. And here on the other side, we have a crow. I know that on my review, I called it a raven, and you guys destroyed me in the comments for that. So we have a black crow on that side of the label. Dirty Cold Sun is my favorite song in this album. That song gets me going every time I hear it. So definitely an album worth checking out, and definitely a band worth seeing. They're actually playing around my area later this month, and I might have to get tickets last minute because they are just so freaking good. So there you have it, everybody. Those are my top 10 studio albums of 2024. Was really excited to make this list and really had to wait a little while to get my albums in order because there were a few last minute additions and I kept pulling things out and putting things back in again. But I'm pretty happy with my list right now, and I'm excited to hear about you guys. So let me know in the comments below, what are your top 10 albums of 2024? Or if you don't have a top 10, what are just your top albums of 2024? What came out that you're most interested in? And if you guys notice, I didn't have a lot of new bands. Actually, I didn't have any new bands in my top 10 list. So what did I miss? What new bands are out there that release really great new music that I may have overlooked? Let me know in the comments below because I love checking out new music from newer bands as well. Before we go, everybody, please be sure to leave a like and a comment below this video. Subscribe to my channel, turn on notifications. As always, thanks for watching, everybody. And as I teased in the next video, I have some really great new changes coming to this channel, coming very, very soon. So be on the lookout for that. Subscribe, turn on notifications so you don't miss any of it. All right, everybody, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.